Hello, Vinay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Ridhima. How about you?
I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to hold this session about building an inclusive culture at RChilli. So, to begin with, I want to ask you one thing: that what were your previous experiences when you were working for some other organization?
Sure. Before RChilli, I worked with a company called Tata Infotech, which is well-known Tata group in India. Second, I worked one company in Silicon Valley, and that is the primary experience, especially in Tata, because it's more a people-oriented company where they work towards people, for the people. That's what their motive is. And I learned a lot how the organization, how you can build a massive organization with 40 million people working for them, and still everybody is energized working. That's one. And second organization given me experience, something called how the startups work, how the startup in Silicon Valley works, what is their thinking, how the policies should not be. I'm not saying they have very good policies. They have a lot of bad policies, but that gives me the idea, hey, we should not have it of that. That's the two culture, that's the two experiences which I carry forward. And that's what we are doing.
They're actually working on the democracy that we have for the people, by the people, of the people. So,
Mhm.
one thing that instigated you to start your own organization, what was that one thing?
So it all started way back when I was in college, especially 98. I met India's past president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I was a student that time. I got a chance to meet him as a student delegate. And in one of his session with the students, specifically it was not a public session, where he shared his vision called India Beyond 2020. And he asked all of us to say, contribute to something called Developed India. So as a student, it is very energetic session. Even today, I can get a goosebump when I talk about that event. Now, those things has really instinct that I want to do something, contribute to this world, where I can influence, I can touch the 7 billion souls, influence not as a business, but impact their lives. So those motivation forced me to start something, because I find instead of being in job, when I'm in a business or I'm as an entrepreneur, I can impact a lot more people. I can make policies for the city. I can impact those policies. I can create new entrepreneurs or new leaders in the society, which job has a lot of restrictions. So that really contributes. Even my first job was with Tata. So when I shared this vision with my project manager, even she helped me a lot, and she guided me, hey, within organization, yes, you can influence, say, 1,000 people. But as an entrepreneur, you can influence, say, 100,000 people or millions of people. And that's what I'm seeing today. So that is the most positive moment, or you can say my compelling moment to start my own.
Interesting. So, based on your previous experiences and your encounter with these leaders, how did you came to know about this inclusive culture?
Honestly, this is how I'm brought up in my family. We don't have, like, I agree, my grandparent side up to that family, that level. Yes, we have a lot of restrictions, strong faith, I call it. But I was born as a rebel in my family, where I respect everybody. I follow every faith. As that neutrality was built since childhood. When I grew, I was not sure what is inclusive culture, honestly. That is the word came to me a few years back. Even Tata's, even here in Silicon Valley, we find it out that we have to respect a skill of a person. We have to respect a person as a person, not as a, because this person has different faith available or different geography, different gender available. So I'm not created like my since my childhood or my brought up thanks to my parents and even my mentors afterwards. I never see a filter in that category. We are all equal. And that led me to, when we are building this culture for this organization, hey, we will hire for a merit. We expressed, like I remember, we were hiring a sales position where the travel was required. And we publicly said, hey, travel is required. And one girl came in and says, I can travel. I said, you're a girl. And I was worried that you have a lot of restrictions, your husband, your family, everybody's going to restrict. But believe me, that was one of the wiser decisions we did, is when we hired her. Oh, she was one of the best salesperson we had, and a field sales specifically. So that like broken my myth is who's going to decide whether the person can do it or not. If I can share this is what I need and person says yes, job is done. There's nothing in when you write a job description is not for men or women. There's not something for that. So no biasness get created. That's the whole stuff what I felt.
Well, talking about the biasness, a lot of organizations these days have this target that they have to meet certain ratios. So, what is your take on that? And along with that, I want to know that what were the initial steps that instigated you to bring this culture into your organization?
So when organization says, even in some countries, I see the law also says you have to maintain ratios, or organizations set up a target for that. I always feel they are still creating a biasness in that recruiting process. The current ratio mismatch is not because they have a biased policy or they have a wrong policy. It is a mindset of the people which is coming up. If leadership today decides, hey, we will remove all this biasness in the process, no friendship, nothing relationship, my culture, my faith, we remove that one. And it's a training. It's just a mindset, I believe. So if you can build that mindset in an organization, ratios will automatically come up. It's not something you control it. Somebody else control it. In organization, even in the CEO of RChilli today, so we have people from a different geographies, different culture, different religion, different political faith systems. They all work together because motive is not to work on a faith, motive is to build company. So all of us work on one intent called company building or company growth. Now, answering your question, like how this came here or how this comes up, or why people do it, what they can do it, simple. It's a mindset starts from the top. Let us create a training program. Let us create a whole debate in a company. Hey, there's two models. One is merit driven. One is my preference driven. I'm sure it's all debate, all the discussions. And once people feel, hey, merit driven is a better one, instead of second one, people is going to love it. People are going to be more open. People will be more open to work. And that creates a respect among everybody. Like here in RChilli, you see that, hey, you're a boy or girl. That does not reflect that, okay, you get a better respect or less respect. Both get the same respect. If I go to my office, we have a flat office, right? I am going to sit in the same chair where everybody else was going to sit chair. It's no, you are from this caste, this gender, this faith system, or this level in a company. Even ranking does not matter. You have a responsibility. Yes, we respect that one. But once you come to the shop floor, you're all flat. There's no preference given to anybody. I'm going to use the same chair. I'm going to use the same internet. I'm going to use the same tables. It's all flat. That creates the whole culture which has to start from top. It cannot expect, hey, low-level guy is going to do that whole culture. I have to just make a policy. No, it is not going to work that way. Right? It is a mindset of a CEO, mindset of a board, mindset of the leadership team, and then mindset of everybody is going to come.
So, talking about ranking, ratios, and then hierarchy, what do you think the verticals have changed, or you are still working on creating one in your organization?
See, verticals are going to come because if organization grows, you need a communication hierarchy. But that does not mean that, let us say I'm a board member of a company and other people are also board members. Now, we all are the same level. And we all know that if we are not performing well, we might be downgraded to core member or we might be downgraded to the gold team member. So we have a different hierarchies available as a leadership. Rest is the project level. Oh, we have a project manager, project lead, tech lead, all that stuff is there. These are the roles which is required to do work efficiently. But that is nothing to do with the inclusive culture. Once you're done with the role, you come back to the organization. We call it RChilli family, period. There's no other stuff comes up. People call us leadership team, but I'm going to eat the same food if everybody's sitting on the floor. I mean, I'm going to sit on the floor. If I have a medical problem, then that's a different story. But we find it is all same end of a day. We all share the same feeling, all share the same food, all share the same facilities. It is a leadership. Yes, organization structure is required. Departments are required. Divisions are required because that's how you manage the organization. And flat organization of 100 people is not possible, right? One person cannot manage more than 4 or 6 people, right? So you need a hierarchies, which is there. But yet side by side, once you're done with the project, once you're out of the project, we are a flat organization. There's no hierarchy exist. And parties when we go or anywhere we go, we all share the same thing. There's no hierarchy that, okay, CEO gets first and everybody gets last. No, that doesn't exist, right?
How do you measure the impact and effectiveness of inclusive culture that you have cultivated at RChilli?
Let us understand one step back here. So we use a formula called flywheel, and every quarter and every half yearly and yearly, 3 level of flywheel feedback we create. So we try to identify frictions. Hey, my flywheel is not moving or moving slow. Where's the friction? And frictions comes different ways. Sometimes people talk about processes, sometimes people about growth, sometimes people talk about anything, and sometimes people talk about interpersonal communications too. Since that is anonymous feedback, which goes out, we see, I think, 40, 50 comments in them. And if I start seeing those personal or interpersonal communication as the friction point, that leads me, hey, something going wrong here, HR practice. If it is people are talking about processes, people show their frustration, hey, I want to sell more, I'm not getting more products. That's a good for a company. Now he's talking, I want to own more product. People come, this process is not working. And they talk about department, not about a person. Oh, we can build a process. So that tells us whether we are in the right direction or not right direction. Frictions always comes up. Like I remember 4 years back, we have a different frictions. Today we have a different frictions. But we appreciate that. But that's where we're going to remove it and work on them. And then we get to the next level. But type of frictions tells us, hey, what's going on? It is people are talking about progress, people are talking about growth. People are like, I remember a feedback, I know who given that we want to serve this client, but I'm not getting right responses. Okay. Fair enough, you want to just serve a client 24/7, but you're not getting a response from your team. Now that's a frustration that person has. That means we need to build a process where this person get a feedback within 24 hours, reply to customer. There's not a personal crunch there. So these things tells us, hey, you're on the right direction. You are on the right path. Coming to ratios, yes, HR department prepares certain ratios, what ethnicity, what gender. I think some places by law, we have to submit these reports to. That's the reports only. We more talk about merit, skills, hiring. And even we have a training programs internally where hiring manager get a training, hey, how to look for merit, how to look for skill rather than the other parameters, and why it is important. And that's a culture what we have today.
Okay. So could you please provide me one example of how RChilli has actually successfully created an inclusive culture and environment for remote and distributed teams, since we are working globally?
COVID, we taken an advantage of COVID, where we were able to hire people across the geographies like Philippines, Ukraine, or different geographies, Sri Lanka, we have people. Even in India, we have different parts. Canada, we have people with us. Italy, we have people with us. Now, this help us to, like when we are hiring that one, first grudge was like we hire a first guy from Philippines, and question is how we monitor their progress, right? That's our question. If it's a local guy, I can send somebody to their home and say, knock, 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 man, please deliver. And I said, okay, that's a challenge, but we all want to face. And first time we are hiring somebody from outside country. And we did an experiment, and that experiment was very good. We seen that how to engage a person, how to link a person, how to hold that person accountable. And when we replicate that model to multiple countries, we find people follow a process. It's not they follow any biasness or any other gender or any other stuff. Once they get a respect, once they get a involvement, once they get a whole engagement model with the company, they become a part of a family. Now they work for a family, this company has to grow. This company belongs to them. That feeling is the strongest feeling what we are able to create in HR process. Now, that's one of the examples I can share. When person is in, I remember, when war came in Russia and Ukraine, so we had a few people working in Ukraine. Now, that girl came to me and said, Vinay, I'm in Kyiv and there's a lot of bombing going on, and I want to help these people outside. They're dying, right? They're injured. I want to go out and help. Now, it's a very drastic situation for us. As an organization, hey, you have a target, you have a KPIs, you have to meet it. Now you have a blackout days and blackout hours. You cannot work these times. You cannot attend those meetings. Even she attend meetings where she cannot speak. She can only listen. She cannot switch on any light in their house. So we've seen that whole problem. Now we respect the skill. That's what we say. We respect her skill. And we said, okay, let's sit together and figure it out what can be done. Maybe here, maybe somewhere else. Only thing is we change a little bit in her role because we want to adjust with her. And we given her a little bit flexible hours. And she said, okay, now I can go out, help my people in a key Ukrainian guy, fair enough. And you need extra hours, sure, you take an extra hour leave. We'll give you paid leave, extra paid leave for you. Now go second level. Hey, you want to work on different hours. You do not want to be available there. Okay, we'll record the recordings and send to you so that you can listen. So you should stay safe. And that really belonged, like now whole organization was working for her so that we can adjust her. Now, these are the few examples which is not initiated by Vinay or anybody. It's a company who brought on concept. Her team leader, her reporting manager and HR department solved that whole problem and suggested me, hey, can we do this way? And that came to me for approval and I always smile. Yes, it is for her, right? And she's a good skill today. And now she loves it. Once the things get settled down, it is normal for her. Right? So you never know. That's how the people get involved with this whole inclusive culture.
So one last question that I have for you is, looking ahead, what are your future goals and plans for strengthening and expanding the inclusive culture at RChilli?
So one is prime, as repeated again and again, is merit-driven, not a seniority-driven, right? People are not promoted here because I'm in company for 10 years or 5 years or 3 years. I will get promoted because I have a skill, I have proven it, and that's how I want to be on. I've seen that young people, 2 years, 3 years, they are part of a core team member now. Because they have fulfilled that whole passion. They have fulfilled. It's not something because they've spent 7 years in a company. We have people who spend more than 7 years, 8 years, not a part of core team. And it's a normal scenario. And people have understood, hey, I have a merit to driven. That's a one culture every company should build. We have built it. I'm so proud of that culture today. Second one, we also have to train everybody. One, training what type of biasness get created. There's one is clear biasness. Oh, I'm seeing gender, I'm seeing all that stuff, maybe culture, faith, religion, anything. But there's something called unconscious biasness also get created. I didn't like this guy. I don't know why. He's good in all skills, but I didn't like it. I'm not feeling comfortable talking to this person. Right? These are something unconscious bias. And if you drill down to the point, like learning modalities doesn't match. I have my own belief system in somewhere sitting in my mind. This country is, my neighboring country is bad. I cannot hire people from there. You have a subconscious. It's not something consciously available. You're doing it. And how to get rid of them. And best way is if I know what subconscious biasness I have, I can take care of that. People are ready to take care of that. Only thing they don't know. Only thing they feel, once they feel uncomfortable, they don't hire anybody. Right? They don't work with those guys. But once I remove those known or unknown or unconscious or subconscious biasness, they start working very aggressively with a person. And then now, if you see any people who write their names, we normally earlier, I remember initially when Zoom came in, people normally write, I'm joining from this location. So we said, do not write any locations here. Right? Your camera must be on. Everybody has a t-shirts. Everybody talk about same backdrops. So I'm not going to judge you. Hey, you have a background, you're a good home, or you're a bad home. Right? I'm not going to judge that way. People will respect that way. Somebody came to me and they say, I'm failed in business. He started his startup and failed. I said, fair enough. It's a learning for me. But a lot of people say, no, it's a bad, he failed, he might fail here. But today we find him as a pretty successful and soon he'll be department head. We don't know what is required for that particular person. So that culture is required. And third is the most important, which is a final one for me. I think we always say in a company called upskilling. So you need to make sure that you're training everybody, which serves one, their current need, their career path, what's what the person want to be. And third, as an organization, how I can make it more better. Can I make this process more impactful? Let us take example in marketing. If I'm writing a blog, earlier I get 25 likes or share or whatever you call it. And now I write a blog, maybe I'm writing a once in a week, but this time I get 500 likes or 500 shares. Can I change what changes I bring in my content? But I'm not increasing number of content. I'm increasing the same content, but quality of content can be changed. target audience can be changed, distribution can be changed. I have no idea. People come with an idea. We are here to create a problem as a challenge and then train them, and then people fix it out. So three things are primarily required: biasness training, or know what biasness can be. Number two, respect a person, remove the whole background, become a uniformity with all of people. There's no differentiating factors. You cannot show off your big fancy home. Sorry. If you have, be appreciated, but shut it down, right? So that everybody feels same way. Third, there's no location, no biasness or anything. And finally, is train the people so that they are also focused on skills. They are not focused on, hey, politics, internal politics or external politics type of things. That's how we do it.
That's amazing. Actually, treat to my ears to understand and know about your experiences and how you have built these things over the time by facing those challenges as well. So I think these are the main areas that we are still working on, and to grow the organization in other sense as well. So thank you so much for sharing your insight.
Sure. Thank you, Ridhima. Thank you for your time. And it's wonderful talking to you. Thank you.